Okay, so we are looking at this graph again. Okay, let's get down a bit. Right, Medicare spending. Okay, now you might have to answer some questions on this, so let's have a look at some questions. Estimate the year in which the expenditures reached 100 billion. So what year did it reach 100 billion? Right, that's me going, here is the 100 billion. Okay, if I go over, and I've got to think about this. I'll get the arrow going. So there, over there, over there, over there, about there. Go down to there. I'll leave that. 87, 88, 89. About 1980. Looks like 1989 to me. Okay. So I would write 1989 right here. Okay. 1989. Oh dear. 1989. Now how about when it reached 25 billion? All right, so that must be less, of course. Must be an earlier period of time. So let's have a look. 25 billion. Again, there, and I think we had this one earlier. I think was it about there? 25. So about 1979. About 1979, I think. Okay. So here we go. You're just doing things like that. Now, other questions. During which 10-year period, so 10 years, did Medicare expenditures change the least? Okay, now remember, change is all about the steepness of the slope. Something that's increasing very fast is changing a lot. Okay, so right over here, I can see over here, all this is very steep. That has changed a lot over just a few years. If I just went from there, think about it, from about 320 billion to 400, I mean that's changed, that's about 100 billion right there over just a very short space of time, just 2 or 3 years. Okay, think about it, go down here, from about 2005 to 2007, it's gone up by 100 billion. Okay, it's a very steep curve. So where did it change the least? Looks like to me, it's like, well, I can see here, look at this area here. That's nice. That hasn't, can you see that? That really hasn't changed at all. It's flat. Okay, there's no change. From 1997 to going on towards 2000, there's no increase in Medicare spending. So there's no change there because it's flat. Everywhere else is going up, it's changing. Now, over 10 years though, 1992, so if I include that from 1992 to 2002, if I read the Y values off here, that's quite a different change. I mean, look at that. That's just the difference. If I read over here somewhere, okay. But if I look over here, looks like, okay, right at the start, this has hardly changed by much, has it? It's not increased. This is the least steep slope, okay. So it hasn't changed much there by over the 10 years. Was it the greatest? Well, I'm assuming it's the last 10 years for the greatest change. So let's go from 1997 maybe to 2007. It depends where it goes on to, okay. But all this here, okay, all this, let's get the arrow going again, where it's got the steeper slope, all this at the end is a very big change in spending, okay? So towards the last 10 years of this data. Right, for which 1 year period does the graph indicate the most rapid increase in expenditures? For which 1 year period? Well, again, it looks like the very end there. Let's have a go over here. It's right at the very end, 1 year period. You can put from maybe 2006 to 2007, from 2007 to 2008. Depends on how far this graph goes. If it stops at 2007, looks like the steepest was the last year, from 2006 to 2007. So that gives me the most change, okay, when it goes up very steeply. Most change, because over only 1 year, it's gone up by a lot of billions. All right? That's why it's steep. Okay, that's the most rapid increase. Let's look at some other questions. In what period was no change in expenditure? Well, again, if you remember that one, it's right here, that circled earlier. Okay, so about from 1997, if I do it here, it looks like it started to go up there, to about 2000. So if I call it 2000, it looks like there was like a 3-year period there from 1997 to 2000 where it was pretty much flat. I'll just draw a little flat line there. Okay, there was no change in spending. Great. And more questions. Predict it in 2010. Okay, so now of course here we don't know, because notice the graph finishes at 2007. Okay, we don't know it finishes at 2007. That's the last point right there. Okay, right there, 2007, at about 400, close to 450 billion. Now it says here, predict in 2010, and then what assumptions are you making? Well, we're assuming that it's still going to go up very steep. It's still going to increase by a lot. Okay, so you can only guess on this. I mean, in 2010, if I just drop the graph a bit, so another 3 years, if I take it to about there, I'm just counting maybe 1, 2, 3 years, and if I go way up here, somewhere, I'm just going to go up here. I mean, and I'm going to just just extend that graph. Supposing the graph kept on going up and up and up and up, and supposing it met it somewhere there, then I have to read across here, way over here, and I don't know because it's gone off the edge of the scale. I might have to guess some extra stuff. 450, that might be 500, that might be 600. So it might be over 500, 550. Okay, it's gone up by 15 billion, isn't it? So it looks like it could be close to 600 billion. Okay, but that's not a very accurate way because I can't really do a proper graph. I'm just pretending that it's gone up to there in 2010. Then I'm reading over to the left-hand side to see what that might be. It might be about 600 billion, but I'm not exactly sure. Okay.